And when Dr. Banda's government was overthrown, amongst the thousands of people who stormed into the streets of Blantyre and other cities were enraged men who had been refused the right to come to South Africa to earn a living there. Again and again, I have seen this happen. Before the tragedy in Lesotho, mine workers were retrenched from the gold mines. And many of these mine workers were Basutos. They went to Lesotho, and there, when the country collapsed after the rigged elections of about a year ago, mine workers took to the streets and created the violence that brought about the demise of the Basotho nation which we see today.
What about Lonro and its influence in Tiny Roland, its late and infamous head?
Is he dead?
Yeah.
Roland?
Mm-hmm.
Well. I wonder what he's going to say to Nkulunkulu, the great God, when it comes to the land of the ancestors. You know, sir, it's very strange that men like Roland are just as perishable as we all are. Roland was a genocide. He and his corporation were behind many of the bloodiest wars and coups d'etat in Africa. Wherever there was war, wherever there was the smuggling of heavy armaments such as tanks and artillery pieces, there you heard the name Lonro. Tiny Roland was a man whom I had heard about during the war, a man who openly sympathized with the Nazis. Tiny Roland was a man who was directly behind the seizure of the country Rhodesia by Mr. Ian Smith, so-called UDI. He either facilitated it or he was directly responsible for it. Tiny Roland was one white man whom thousands of black people hated throughout Southern Africa. Our people called him Wena or Ingwenya, which means the chewing crocodile. One reason why Roland was so bitterly hated was because not far from the Victoria Falls there is a small town called Wangi. That town was once a very, very sacred place to the Makaranga peoples. Wangi stands in what was once a huge forest, which was once sacred to the Great Earth Mother in ancient times. Tiny Roland's men so heavily polluted that place in their mining operations that today it is a ravaged ghost of its former self.
Isn't it the case, Frodo, that these various names like Oppenheimer, like Rhodes, like Roland, are actually puppets of a of course, we saw the Illuminati. And is it your view, from your experience, that the Illuminati and the Chitahuli, the reptilians, are actually the same thing, and that actually through various forms, it is the reptilian force that has been behind this whole story you've been articulating?
I think so. In fact, I'm positive. But what I cannot understand is why do rational, highly educated human beings allow themselves to become the instrument of the destruction of the only home that we have, we human beings, namely the earth upon which we live. Please, are you going to tell me that men like Mr. Oppenheimer and all those who work under him don't have what are called environment impact studies, which give them a long-term view of what the ultimate results of their massive mining operations will be?
Of course, they will have that done, but as we've discussed in another video, maybe destroying the environment is part of the agenda in terms of changing the planet from one which suits humans to one which suits people that have been controlling it.
Yes. But this seems to be a terrible war that we see in front of us. A war which is taking place relentlessly, cold-blooded, and whose effects upon all our lives and upon the planet are becoming more evident as we go into the millennium.
When you follow these bloodlines, which have become the Illuminati, the reptilian bloodlines, through history to the present day, you can see very clearly that human sacrifice, blood rituals and so on have followed all the bloodlines, for some reason, are seriously into this stuff. Has that been your experience in terms of the secret societies and the reptilian bloodlines that you've experienced?
Other than necrophagy, where a human corpse or part of a human corpse is eaten, I have never seen an actual human sacrifice. But I have taken part in rituals where part of a dead body is consumed. A dead body dug up from a grave. I must admit that. But in England and in America, I saw Freemasons indulging in some of their deepest rituals. And in both cases, the people concerned were not aware of the fact that they were being observed. At one time in Johannesburg, I viewed a Freemason ritual through a pair of binoculars. They were performing this ritual in a brightly lit room, and we watched nearly every detail of what they were doing. In England, I saw again the same thing close up